This podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com. This podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
I'm Chuck Norris, and I approve this game.
Between the time when gamers played with miniatures and chainmail and the rise of the Wizards of the Coast, there was an age of advanced role-playing undreamed of. And onto the Skygax, destined to bear the jeweled crown of TSR upon a troubled brow, it was given to teach us all how to roll for initiative.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
The Roll for Initiative Podcast, Volume 3, Issue number 124. I think I've got it right this time. I am DM Vince, sitting next to DM Nick.
Hi.
And a returning DM Matt with a bunch of con crud.
Yes, Gen Con was great, and feeling a little rough a week later.
In case you're tuning in for the first time, this is the only podcast that will give you your Advanced Dungeons & Dragons First Edition information.
Yeah.
If you're not the definitive answer, we'll give you our opinions, and our opinions only, and you can take them however you want to use them.
You mean it's not written in stone, and you must do exactly as we say?
No, it's not.
Oh.
No.
Wow.
We hope you're listening. If you're not a first edition fan, you could be a later edition fan. You just want to mine for ideas. That's perfect to do this for. That's what this whole podcast is about. To explore and create and love and have fun and smoke. Oh, sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. I fell back in.
And if you don't like it, tough cookies.
Yeah, damn it. So anyway, let's. We heard from Nick. We heard from my blabbering mouth enough. But Matt, tell us a little bit about Gen Con.
Oh, Gen Con was fun times. The city was packed. Gen Con had 49,000 gamers this year. Yeah, and also Friday and Saturday the MotoGP going on, so it had a bunch of bikers as well.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. Gaming wise, I played a few HeroClix games, but nothing too major. Like Friday night, ends up my entire gaming group from home happened to be staying at the same hotel, so I went and we played some games in their room. We played the new Star Trek Attack Wing.
Oh, how was that?
It's good. Very similar to the Fantasy Flight Star Wars game. So, assuming the points are balanced similar, I see no reason why you couldn't just combine the two and use ships from one to the other once you got used to some terminology differences. It's basically the same game. They just changed some symbols and changed the names of like the stats, but mechanic-wise, they're the same. Then I also played this like firefighting game where you have a board with like a room in it with like a house, and different parts of the house are on fire, and it's a cooperative game, and you're each a different firefighter with a different role, and you have to go in and like save the people and put out the fire before the building collapses. And that was actually really fun.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
I totally forget what the name of it is, but it's made by the same company that makes the game Resistance, where you are basically trying to call out. You're a team of Resistance fighters, but depending on how many people are playing, like 1 to 3 are traitors, and so you have to pick teams to go out on various missions, but you don't know who the traitors are, and depending on how many missions succeed or fail, as a cat in the background knocks things over. But as you send out the teams on missions, and as depending on if a traitor's on the mission or not, determines whether it'll pass or fail. So it's kind of a lot of sitting around saying, "You're a spy. No, you're a spy. Burn them. They're a spy." type thing. So it's amusing.
Cool. Almost like Paranoia.
Yeah, Paranoia.
Yeah, it's like if you've ever played the new Battlestar Galactica game, we refer to it as Battlestar Galactica Light, because in that game, it's like a board game and you have a task to complete. At the same time, 2 of the players are Cylons.
Jeez.
So and no one knows who the Cylons are other than the Cylons. So it has a similar feel to that.
Cool. So more importantly, what loot did you walk out with?
This is a Gen Con. I intentionally went in going on the cheap. I'm like, I'm not going to use any credit cards. Just whatever cash I have is what I'm spending.
Oh.
I tried to
So
be.
you didn't eat the whole time, basically.
No, I actually, Saturday night drink maybe, but as for there, they were selling copies of that. AEG was selling copies of the Ultimate Toolbox, that book of random tables for $5.
Really?
Yeah, so I bought that.
Yeah.
That's a good. Even people don't like it because for the D20 system, it's still good.
Right. I mean, and everything in it's system agnostic, really. There's nothing in it that's like heavy D20. So for $5, I'm like sold. AEG also had the War of Honor. It's like L5R, the card, the CCG, but they made it into like a standalone game. So it's that was like $5, and if you went by sheer weight alone, the box was like ridiculously heavy. So I'm like, for $5, it'll be amusing. And then I bought Cryptoon Master or something. It's basically like a dungeon crawl game where you're a party of each player in the game represents like a party of adventurers going into it like a dungeon, and you go in. Kill the monsters, loot the room, and whoever gains the most experience points through the killing and looting process wins.
Gotcha.
So, and that was really all of my purchases, and because those were, I think for all of that I spent like $25. I mean, so.
Wow, you really did do a cheap Gen Con.
Yeah, and then I spent maybe $60 to play in HeroClix games. And then
Okay, so more importantly, what about D&D? Did you get the new book? Or
I picked up 2 copies for other people, and I shipped.
Yeah, I was saying, any word on D&D next there?
I didn't make it the D&D party where they were announcing stuff was actually like a ticketed event and sold out. It was like $20, but it included like food, drinks, and like it was a big soiree where you got to mingle with people. So I really didn't get to that, but they did have that convention exclusive book, and I picked up 2 copies of that for people, and I thumbed through it briefly, and it had like 4 adventures in it, and it also had just like a monstrous compendium in it too. So you had all your monster stats, even for monsters that weren't necessarily in the adventures included.
I should have told you to stop by AEG and get the Legend of the Five Rings RPG exclusive module they had.
Oh,
totally about that.
Yeah, because I was just going around just looking at everything. It's like, for whatever reason, this year just nothing really sparked my interest. I'm just like, I wasn't like, maybe because I went in with the mindset of I'm not going to spend a lot of money. I had mentally prepared myself to not be interested in like really anything.
Yeah.
So, but it was still a fun time.
Good.
Yes, and Saturday night I went out with some friends. We hit the Gen Con dance, or Nerd Prom as one of my friend's wives calls it, and then we went to a dance club in downtown Indy, and I was drinking free the entire night, and we found ourselves at Steak and Shake at 4 a.m. when I had to wake up at like 8 a.m. to check out.
That's a good convention.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yes. So, and then Wednesday night consisted of going to Kilroy's, where drinks were half off, all of them, the drinks. So
that's for most. Isn't that where most of the ale house hangs out?
I think so. The bar was packed this year, just with a mixture of Gen Con attendees and just like normal human beings. So, but yeah, it was definitely fun. I'm glad I went for like all 5 days, even if, that final day driving home from Indy, the 2-hour drive, I'm like, I am so exhausted, and it's only 4 p.m. And I proceeded to come home and sleep for like 15 hours straight.
I wouldn't put it.
And then come Mondays when like, oh no, it's con crud.
Yep.
Yep. And
You didn't look like you didn't have any editing duties to do because I decided to throw the show up and break the internet.
yes, I totally appreciated that because, yeah, it probably wouldn't have gotten up in any sort of timely manner.
Yeah, so we had the show with Jason from Gygax Magazine along with Luke Gygax, and that was a fun show.
Yeah, I listened to that, and it was fun.
And if you haven't listened to it out there, it's right up there on our RFI website.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, and you can get it now because the internet is fixed. We fixed it,
Yes,
so it's okay.
We unbroke the internet.
Yes, and you didn't attend, but I did attend the Annie Awards via internet.
Yes.
And congratulations to you, sir.
Yes, I did walk away with the Gold Annie Award, thanking everybody out there from the OSR, Gamer Nation, that voted for the product, and I walked away with the gold, so I have that award now.
Yay.
Awesome.
Do you have the nice little certificate and medal yet?
As of this recording, when this goes out, I'll have it. As of the actual recording, no, I don't have it.
Okay.
By the time this goes out, yes, I'll have it.
Okay. Yes. So you'll have to run around everywhere with your little medal now, like Owen Hart with his slammies.
Plaque, isn't it? It used to be a glass plaque that's engraved and a metal.
I've seen people with medals too.
Yeah, you get both.
Okay, so you have your plaque and your medal.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The medal is either the gold or silver, and it says the year.
Okay.
And the plaque is the glass etch plaque says whatever the award was and the name of the game and the year.
Sweet.
So I guess I could slap a big gold star on my Mazes and Perils now.
Right.
Yep.
Any award winning.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, let's Nick, why don't we jump over to some stars?
Sure. So just let you know we our starred reviews on iTunes. Just to remind everybody, you can head over there to iTunes through the iTunes store, type in Roll for Initiative, search for us through there, and you go to ratings and reviews, and you can rate us. And whenever you can, we'll read off some reviews. And we have one new review from Icern. And Icern says, where else can you spend an hour ruminating about gameism versus theaterism? He gives us 5 stars. He or she gives us 5 stars. I mean, this is really deep stuff. I love the approach these guys have both to old school gaming and to just plain having fun with friends. Mind opening, imagination fueling, rules light but not chaotic. Thanks for staying at my favorite pastime since 1980.
Oh.
And that was from Icern. Well, thank you, Icern, for that new review. We really appreciate it.
And you too can write a review that Nick will read.
Absolutely.
If you go to iTunes and follow his instructions.
Yes, follow them.
Or you can write into us, rfistaff@gmail.com or 570-865-4210, the hotline.
The hotline.
Let's head into Sage Advice.
Sage Advice.
Sage Advice.
We got some sage advice.
We actually have 3 emails this week.
No.
Yeah, you can write us at rfistaff@gmail.com. Or you can go right to the website, rfipodcast.com. There's a contact form. You put in your information, and it automatically emails us. So either way, you can do it from your own address or there. Or you can go to our forums at osrgaming.org/forums. First email comes from DM David D. He says, hello, esteemed Dungeon Masters.
Who are they?
I don't know. Yeah. I recently heard your email question about weapon proficiency. No, I'm kidding. Weapon proficiencies. And DM Mick mentioned his own house rule spin on Rangers. This made me think of one of my own frustrations I've run into over the years. The Ranger Archerer, especially the elf or half-elf variety. I like players to get into their characters, but Ranger Archers seem to get overpowered with strength. Ranger and unearthed counter bow specialty bonuses. For instance, I recently had one such character score a crazy 24 hit points of damage from a single arrow. 6 for the arrow, +1 for strength, +5 against giant class for 5th level, plus double damage for point blank range. And they were able to make 2 bow attacks a round. I don't mind bending the rules or adding points to monsters so they're not killed too quickly, but it gets frustrating as a DM to other players to have such powerful character that always manages to avoid hand-to-hand combat and most of the damage. Outside of always forcing close-quarter combat or just having the bow break, do you have any advice on how to limit this power? Also, why do Rangers get bonuses against giant classes anyway? What is the backstory to this skill? Well, as always, I appreciate your advice. Nick? He mentioned you, so we'll go to you first.
Well, for one thing, I don't use the class of the Ranger Archer in mine, so that doesn't come up at all. Now, as far as limiting it with the bow, if I remember correctly, on Earth Arcana, you can only specialize. You can't double specialize in the bow. And so that's coming off the top of my head. I don't think you could double specialize with a bow.
No, it's only for melee weapons, I thought.
Yeah, just for melee weapons. You can specialize, but you can't go beyond specialization with a bow. Can't double specialize or become master.
Well, the reason why he scored so many hit points was also because of the giant class.
Right.
Yeah, and as far as the giant class thing, I'm only taking a guess from my cloudy knowledge here. I know that had origination in the Little Brown books of original D&D, where they got the idea of that. The Ranger class really came from, from Strider in Lord of the Rings, and I guess you could kind of make an extrapolation from that because he was encountering certain types of creatures that were large. Maybe that would be it. I'm just taking a stab at it. But I don't know how they came up with that list. I mean, the list is kind of weird. I mean, kobolds? Kobolds are not giant class creatures, so I don't know why they're even on that list, to be honest.
You gotta do a lot of house ruling on that list.
Yeah, I mean, kobolds, varts, and a few other things that are like, these aren't even 4 feet tall. Why are they giant class? So that was, I think, again, that I remember that list. I remember seeing that list in original D&D, and kobolds were on the original list for some reason. I don't know why, but that was a holdover from then. I don't think it ever got caught. So,
well, other ways to have your ranger not always have the advantage of using a bow. Well, just think combat's not always going to be everybody standing in front of each other in a perfect line. I mean, there's going to be trees in the way. There's going to be rocks. Yeah. There's going to be your party surrounding somebody. Maybe the giant class creature is crouching, or maybe he has a shield in front of him. There's always options to do something.
Right. Weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's raining or if there's a heavy wind, it's going to be harder to hit. Yeah. Or if just throwing some. If there's like a reoccurring theme and they keep killing giants of a certain tribe or something, maybe the giants figure this out and acquire some sort of magic item that gives them a bonus against arrows.
Mm-hmm.
Or if there's a magic user, they see the arrow volley and, I need a deflection. There's ways to handle just arrow combat.
Yeah, one of the ways is it's somewhere in the DMG. Once you get engaged in melee, and if you have a player character using a missile weapon, there is a chance he's going to hit allies.
Right.
So that is another way of discouraging a person who's playing, a ranger, an archer ranger, and he thinks he's just going to pelt everybody from a distance with his arrows. It's not going to happen all the time. He's going to have to engage in melee eventually.
Well, there's a ranger archer. Why can't there be a kobold archer?
Exactly. Right. Tucker's kobolds.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, DM David D. Next one comes from Juan. Greetings from Uruguay. Uruguay. Did I say that right? Yeah, I think so.
Uruguay, yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I love your show from day one, and I've been catching up since the iTunes indexing incident. What the heck?
When we switched
now it's
feeds.
an incident.
I didn't know we had an incident of our own.
Yeah, we switched feeds, and you had to unsubscribe and resubscribe to get the stuff.
Now it's an incident.
I didn't
My
realize
goodness.
we're calling it an indexing incident. Sorry, guys. We had to do what we had to do.
Yeah.
It's great to have Blackstone back. I didn't know-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Really enjoyed the anomalous
Subsurface environment.
That's a mouthful, dude.
ASC.
Yeah.
The ASC.
It surely sounds refreshing. I've been reading Numenera. That's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Numenera.
From Bonnie Cook. What was that, Nat?
Numenera, I think.
Numenera? Okay, sorry. It looks cool, the game. I just haven't had a chance to read it. And these future science fiction games really intrigue me. It reminds me that I have to go read more Jack Vance stories. Keep up the good work, Juan. Thanks, Juan.
Thanks, Juan, from Uruguay.
Yeah. And this last email comes in from Alan from Scotland.
From Scotland. Hey,
I didn't want to go there, but apparently you did.
that's right, I did.
As Alan just deletes the feed now. Just wanted to say love in capital letters the show, but not Nick. No, I'm kidding. I've been listening, but haven't posted anything for absolutely ages. Never seemed to get around to it. And I wanted to say you guys really make a huge difference in my life. I really look forward to your regular podcast, and along with the 2.5 squads, you fill my gaming radio needs. Thanks. Keep up the good work. Best wishes, Alan. 2.5 squads?
It must be Scottish something. I
Maybe
don't
he's
know.
referring to other podcasts.
Oh,
On the
regular podcast and along with the 2.5 squads?
Right. Maybe he's referring to Save or Die and Thaco's Hammer and the crossover, so hosting.
No, I supplied him with 2.5 squads of kobolds.
Oh, so that's where they went.
That's what that charge was.
Well, unless they're referring to one of the podcasts as half a podcast, I don't know.
Right.
No, it was the 2.5 squads of kobolds he needed. He needed to put down some unruly players. So, yeah, that's where they went.
Unless you have critical hits, because critical wits, they every once in a while put a show up. Maybe that's half a squad. I don't know. Unless maybe he's talking about the different hosts coming on.
Right, because if you take the number of hosts and on the actual number of shows, there's a little bit of crossover.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I'm glad.
Reaching there.
I'm glad he enjoys all the shows, whether it be our show, Thaco's Hammer, or Save or Die, Critical Wits, Lost Holocron, or the Spellburn podcast, and other future podcasts coming along shortly. And that's our emails for this week. Yay! Have to say goodnight to everybody for emails. Yay! And we'll jump right into Table Matters.
Typical. Of all the evil creatures in the world, I'd like to find one with table manners.
What are you kidding me? I spent years cultivating the worst table manners on the planet.
Table manners.
Okay, here we are in Table Manners.
Got it right.
And we are going to be talking about a module from the back of the day with Roll-Aids.
Yeah.
All the Roll-Aid supplements that we've covered in the past. And we're going to be talking about an adventure called Deadly Power. And it is for characters levels 4 to 8. 4 to 8 characters, levels 6 to 9, excuse me.
Yeah.
And to join us in our conversation, we do have Laurel and Donald Nicholson and John Keefe, who wrote the adventure, The Deadly Powers. So welcome on to the show.
Hello. Thank you.
All right.
Those listening out to this is Roll-Aid Supplement 716.
716. And this came out, looks like in 1984. So part of that whole Roll-Aids line that was coming out at the time. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know which one of you could kind of give us a background on, how this module, how you guys came up with the idea, the concept of this adventure, and just kind of like lead us in from there.
Well, but back in 1982, there was a mayoral primary for the city of Chicago, and it was to be between Richie Daley and Jane Byrne. And obviously you can see that Enaj is Jane backwards, real obvious. And yell at his daily backwards. And
reveals that when you said that.
Yeah.
and so we decided to, or Laurie actually wanted to do this. She wanted to write a module that was going to be kind of a parody on the election. And so we decided to do it. I think we started writing it in late 1982 or 1983. And that was the whole premise of it. If you know a little about Chicago politics, Jane Byrne became mayor because there was a massive snowfall of winter, and Michael Bolandic, who was the mayor, didn't get it cleaned up very well. So Jane Byrne easily won the next election. And then later on, Richie Daley, the son of Richard J. Daley, decided he wanted to come in and be the mayor in his father's footsteps.
Mm-hmm. So he'd seek out the magical leaves and smoke them?
Yeah, smoke the magic cigar smoke and from the back rooms and hoodwink all the people again.
And in doing so, writing the adventure, you made Elad and his son, his son part devil, and the father, I guess, was a worshiper Dispater.
Yes, a full devil.
Yes, a full devil who was a worshiper Dispater. So
depending on who you talk
now
to.
Now hearing the background, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Now it starts to make sense. All right.
But this module, like it says on the cover, all characters are fictitious and they don't resemble anybody. So,
right.
Yes, there's the disclaimer.
Yeah, purely coincidental.
Right.
Purely coincidental. Right.
And we don't really believe that Richie Daley is a half devil, or his father was a full devil.
Of course. As we say, all things tongue in cheek on the show.
Right.
But I thought the premise of the adventure was really interesting. He had this town, rich mining town near the sea, and there's this King Elad.
Yeah. He's the leader of this town, and the whole town is enthralled with him and everything that he does.
Yes.
Because he has this magical charm spell because of these leaves and seeds that he smokes that help him enamor everybody into thinking he's the most wonderful person in the world. Very weird. Where'd you get the idea of the smoking the magical seeds and making the charm spell out of that?
Well, that was always a backroom politics in Chicago. They talk about cigar chompers and smoke-filled rooms and all that.
Okay.
So that's where that came from.
All right.
And also, Daley was a popular mayor back then, or a powerful mayor back then, and pretty much whatever he said went. So it was kind of a combination of the two.
So the king, he has a son named Minor, like the minor Daley, I guess, the younger.
Correct.
And he's a half devil, and
well, he was mostly gifted with some of the abilities. It's as though not a devil, really. So
yeah, he was gifted with certain abilities, and I guess the king also gets friendship, the loyalty of the town rats and their were-rat leader. So, okay, now who's the were-rat leader?
I don't think there is anyone. As far as a politician goes.
I'm just checking on that one.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Although one of the were-rats was named after one of Laurie's neighbors.
Oh, how nice. We're going to put you in a module. Oh, great. What am I going to be? A were-rat? Oh, what?
I don't think they knew.
Okay. So he's also gained, the loyalty of the town rats, the were-rat leader, and use their caverns. They help guard the mines. And but King Elad has an adversary by the name of Lady Inaj, A very highly intelligent illusionist. Oh, really? So now that we understand the background here, I'm like, now I can see why she's the illusionist.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she has a sorcerer by the name of Grinmare, who's, I guess, one of her, I don't know if we want to call a lackey, but I guess her almost like a second in command.
Right.
Believer or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he was named after anyone either. So long ago, I can't remember most of the politicians' names.
And then the owner of the town, Don was reminding me, was most of the town was Quick Edward, who was also representative of Fast Eddie. For Doliak. Who was an alderman, a powerful alderman.
Wow. This is just amazing and I'm sure I wonder if anybody even then, when they got the adventure, even picked up on the kind of the inside joke there.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Because now it's like, wow, that is incredible stuff.
And TSR said it was kind of a parody. So
yeah, well,
I don't think they were back in Lake Geneva, so that's pretty close to Chicago.
Yeah. So I guess the son, he heads off on his 18th birthday, and he kind of disappears.
Yeah, takes off to adventure and explore the lands beyond the city to check out, to find things. I don't know what he's just going off on a quest for purposes of plot.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to get away from everything.
So he leaves. The king has slaves build an elaborate complex beneath the town. The town's mausoleums protect his magic tobacco leaves. Slaves were killed to protect the secrets. And one of the key elements of this adventure is to help his son, I guess if he ever comes back. The king has a scroll written which gave clues how to receive the leaves and trust the scroll. And he trusted the scroll to Greasel, who's the
Rat King.
Yeah, the Were-Rat King.
Pretty much the king wanted to go back to wanted to go back home to hell, but he couldn't because he wouldn't let him, apparently, for whatever reason. And then he prayed and prayed for years to his demon god or devil god. Yep. And then finally he told him, well, maybe I'll think about it and consider it if you take your wife and sacrifice her in my name.
And the king's like, okay.
Sure.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah. It was the right thing to do.
Yeah, it was the right thing to do at the time, according to the king. So he has his wife.
The Lady Cynthia, I think.
The Lady Cynthia.
Yes. Sacrificed in the Spader's name.
His sacrifice in the Spader's name, and Grinmare later on stole into the king's room as he lay drugged. So I guess the king gets drugged.
Well, he became distraught over
yes,
his wife and not having a decision made, so he couldn't sleep. So I guess he tried some magical potions to help him sleep at night. So while he was asleep is when Grinmare snuck into the room and took the opportunity to cast a flesh to stone spell on the king, then decapitate him.
Yeah.
Use the scroll to flesh stone, which would just pretty much kill him and return him to hell to serve his penance as a lemur.
For 250 years.
Yeah.
Yikes.
They didn't want him back.
No.
And as soon as he got killed, all the townsfolk went, huh?
Huh? What just happened?
What's going on here?
Realized the town was in ruins and destroyed. And that's when the nice lady took over, our nice illusionist friend.
Yeah, she was real nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she takes over, but 2 years after that, there is a message that comes from Grinmare saying that the son of Elad has reappeared. And he's gaining strength and power. So there has to be something done quickly. So they have a plan to try to essentially try to stop the sun from gaining any more power.
Right. They need somebody to go. You always need somebody to do things for you. And they needed somebody to get the leaves and the seeds so that Miner couldn't use them.
And that's where the adventuring party comes in.
Right.
And
they pretty much forced almost to either do this or just be thrown out of the town.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's the old-fashioned look there. You have to do this. But I think it's done in other modules, too. Not just in this. I think the Slave Lords did it where you got everything taken from you. And there was another module, I think, Castle Amber.
Mm-hmm. Castle Amber's like that. Slave Lords, definitely.
Yeah, and considering how the screwed up the town is from a power structure, it kind of fits.
Yeah.
So the fact that, you will do this, otherwise we will make your life hell, is kind of appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they went into the Swill and Warm Mabel Tavern, though, to get any food. I think you would avoid that unless somebody told you that the food was actually good there. You would stay away from it and you would never go in there. But
I think it was like Billy Goat's.
Was that Billy Goat's Tavern?
Yeah.
Now you're not being Billy Goat's Tavern does have good food though.
Yeah.
Was it a dump?
But you had to know about it to know that it was really good food.
So then the adventurers wander into town after whatever recent adventure they had with their group, party of adventurers. They see the tavern and they just say, meh, let's go inside. So then they go inside and they start to order their drinks and stuff. And then they automatically just go, and pass out like William Shatner.
Yeah. No saves either. I'm like, man.
Which then they wake up pretty much just in peasant clothing with all their stuff on a table, surrounded by a bunch of guards. And then Miner comes walking in with a bunch of other guards and says, haha. And he explains the situation to them and why he's in town and what he's looking for. And he wants the characters to help him. So then they give you the two positions in this situation that the characters accept. And he goes on to give them some more information about where to find it based on a scroll that he has, or if they do not accept, he gives them one more chance to accept, takes their stuff away, and then throws them out into the forest. Which then you'll go meet another random NPC that has some pretty interesting information to give them.
Right, you can still do the adventure without actually accepting his challenge, but it'd be pretty tough without any of your equipment and things like that.
Right.
I think it's probably it's better to accept the challenge and then maybe double cross them later when you run into Inaj or Inaj. I like Inaj better.
Yeah, Inaj. And that's what happens outside the tavern. There's a blue jay that fly ahead and it drops a folded piece of paper. And it has a note from the queen saying,
hey, yo,
go follow the blue jay and you can help us out. So, and you have a couple options there. Either players, they can choose not to visit the queen, or they can agree to see her. If they don't, this blue jay will report to the queen of the players' of the characters' whereabouts, and they enter the tomb where they need to go. Then they'll be greeted by a host of city guards and escorted to the halls of power. So either way, they're going to meet up with her.
Yep.
So I thought, it's probably best that they just agree to see her and go to the halls of power. So if the players do agree to it, and I would think most of them would, they go see her. Beautiful woman, 45 years old, strikingly beautiful blonde hair, and That's an illusion, though.
Yeah, she's sitting on her throne, and she's really not there because she's just kind of projecting herself in one of the...
You're actually kind of smart in a way, because you never know. These player characters can be really, really unpredictable. You know, you never know. You might have that guy say, "Fireball." What?
It's totally possible.
Yeah, you know, and I think you anticipated that because, you know, there's always that one guy. So...
Or girl.
Or girl, yeah.
In Laurie's case.
Yeah, you never know. So if they accept the going to Lady Inaj's Hall of Power, they go and meet her. They talk with her, and she discusses about the scroll that she knows of that they have in their possession. She tells them about how the minor Elad is evil. His father is a devil from hell. And if they can get the golden box mentioned in the scroll, he'll use it. He will use it as part of the regained throne in the city. So she wants them to retrieve the box for her so it can be held in quote-unquote safekeeping.
Yeah.
So she's not exactly very good either.
But I noticed they made it nice and even. Either party offers 7,000 gold on the magic item.
Yeah. I mean, pretty darn enticing, if you ask me. You know, 7,000 gold to each person plus a beneficial magic item. So
we may have put a little too much magic and treasure in here, but based on the way we played, we never ever got everything.
Right.
Or most things.
Oh, I know. I think for the level, I think that's pretty fair. You know, I mean, considering what player characters spend their gold on, you know.
That's true.
And it's always great to have new magical items.
Absolutely.
I do like the fact that the players refuse her offer peacefully, they can leave, of course. And, of course, that little blue jay goes over to the Assassin's Guild and says, please dispatch with the leader, and then the rest of the party, if you can, and we'll give you some money.
Yes. And we'll dispatch Yvonne the Terrible. A 10th level assassin, nonetheless, which I thought was pretty cool. It's a female assassin, so it's like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably Don's idea. He loved assassins and evil characters.
So we basically, it's like politics. You got it seems like the party is going to be stuck in between. Oh, who do we help here? You know.
Yes.
So who do they have to? Eventually, in the end, they're going to have to double cross somebody.
Who's the lesser of the two evils, pretty much?
Basically, yeah. So we go
or double cross them both.
Or double cross them both. There you go. So you have those initial meetings, and then it gets on to basically a general rundown of the town of Charlottesville. They talks about the tavern and the various different places within the town itself. What I thought was interesting was the actual halls of power.
Yeah.
Particularly the where was it? The trophy room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If the player characters somehow, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they want to investigate this lady and they want to see if she's really on the up and up. If they eventually end up in the trophy room, then they're probably going to think, you know what, she's not so great either.
Yeah. My question is she going to let them freely roam around this place? I don't know about that.
I don't think so. I'm thinking more of like if the player characters want to take it upon themselves, you know, basically doing a B&E, breaking and entering on their own.
Or asked to look around, maybe with some guards.
Yeah.
I don't know if the guards can let them in the trophy room now, because if all the heads of former enemies are on the shelf there. And...
Yeah, I know. And some of them being human.
Yeah.
Or maybe
I'm kind of thinking that's kind of, wow, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah. Or maybe the trophy room, they show it, you you could end up in here if you don't go
Yeah.
along. Just
If you
saying.
don't go along what we're saying here, you can end up like one of these mooks. You know, that's what they're kind of doing here. So, what they say, many of these heads were Inaja's political enemies, and the rest are mementos of her adventuring days. I'm like, oh, really? How nice. So you have some, that's one of the more interesting points I thought in the town was that trophy room in the halls of power. I thought that was pretty cool, and I like the was it the Precious Gems and Jewelry Store with Honest Irving Hasselbaum. He assumes everybody that walks in is a thief. I love that. That is great. A little paranoid, but hey.
Let's not forget the Bottoms Up Tavern.
The Bottoms Up. That's a great name for a tavern.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to use that. The Bottoms Up Tavern.
The dancing girls and the girl on the stage singing.
Oh yeah, and the Eat and Run Tavern.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, some real good names there for a lot of these places. It's really good. Yep.
I think Laurie wrote most of the town. That's it.
So yeah, it was a really good write up on the town, and and the gambling room was pretty cool. I like that little addition. That's something you don't see a whole lot, and I think in like a lot of published adventures where there's where you should have like a little gambling area inside any inn or tavern or what have you, and that's pretty cool that was added in there. And then you have the two old alchemists. Yes, the alchemist store. The alchemist store where the two lawful good brothers, Merritt the alchemist and Wraith.
Yes, Wraith.
Right. Both are very old, over 100 years old. I just could picture role playing those two guys. Just like two absent-minded fellas. I'd probably play them like the two guys off of not Dumb and Dumber, but what's the movie with Walter Matthau?
Grumpy Old Men.
Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah.
Hey, Putz, how you doing, moron?
Well, we always liked town adventures, and a lot of times there weren't as many town adventures. But when we were playing town adventures, just going through towns, if they were fun, was very entertaining.
And that's cool, especially if you have like you did here. You have some pretty colorful NPCs in there, and that just kind of leads to other things because you never know. It could lead up to little mini side adventures here and there. That's pretty cool. I love these guys, and they're really good at their job. I mean, 90% chance of being able to identify any magic item and its powers. I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
That's a walking, talking wand of magic and magic detection right there.
Doesn't Greasel Greedy want to kidnap one of them? I think that's probably why.
Yeah.
He also wants a potion of undead control, too. But
yeah, speaking about potions, I really had a good chuckle at the poor man's magic shop.
Yes.
Well, I will make any potion you want while you wait.
Yes, while you wait.
No refunds.
Where is that? Yes, poor man's magic shop. That is fantastic.
Each potion has a 70% chance of either not working or backfiring. Wow.
So backfiring meaning we probably have to go to the potion miscability table, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm guessing. That's what I'd probably do. Is go to the potion miscability table for that and say, okay, let's see who explodes.
That or just being something else that you're not expecting too.
Right. That's pretty cool. I love that. The one thing I found interesting, I maybe it's just me, it's like that the Assassin's Guild is right there. You know, I thought they'd be a little more secretive of like where they're at.
They don't care.
Yeah, especially in a town like this.
Yeah, then again, you got to think about who's running the country here. You know, the lady with all the severed heads in her house. Right. So I kind of took that into consideration. I'm like, well, okay, yeah, I'll run with that. I can see that.
Assassin's Guild, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. I'm almost picturing like the Assassin's Guild out of like Ankh Morpork. And who would you like to exhumed?
All right, so we'll worry.
Yes, so
I think a lot of the places in the town were unexplained. I don't know if that's because they didn't have room for it, or if we didn't fill them out or not. Like the fish market and the Undertaker.
Yeah, like the shop, the spot of wine, the tailor, the fur. I guess they figured that was self-explanatory. I don't know.
Yeah, either that or there wasn't room, and they, like you said, it was self-explanatory, so they didn't really want to use it.
Here was another thing I found out in the town is like, where is it? The home of Quick Edward.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be Eddie Verdoliak that Lori was talking about earlier.
Okay. So Quick Edward is
Fast Eddie.
Fast Eddie. So he's the one, and that explains why he's immune to the leaves spell. And he's a guy who he picks up brick from crumbling buildings and resells them refurbished projects for the city. So he's a stonemason guy. He's in the construction business.
Yeah, away.
Right. In real life, they say he had his hand in everything in Chicago, so we don't know that that's true or not.
He runs a very reputable construction business. There you go. So I'm like, I wonder, why is he immune? Then now you get the background. I'm like, okay. Now I get it. And those are really the highlights of the town of Charlottesville. I thought there was some really cool stuff in there. So, moving on, you go to was it the Minter's Tower? And I guess if you want to lead on into this, Vince, about Minter's Tower.
It pretty much is a four floor tower, which has these at the very top has these really cool like mirror set up. So when the king was using because there's a mine that's pretty much, I think it's under the town.
Yeah,
that's the gold source that they built the town around so that people could be rich. The king decided to make it so that only he could get in there and transport the gold back and forth using this magical mirror teleport system, which is really cool on the fourth floor when you use the sun at 7 a.m. in the morning and 7 p.m. at night, local time, of course. You can unveil mirrors in the room, and there's different things that'll happen. Let's see here. I like especially like the fourth mirror, which shows you all the torture of everyone that was.
Oh yeah.
In hell, pretty much. But you can shatter each one of these, except for one of them. The third mirror will not break at all, but when you do shatter the fourth mirror, you have a chance of going insane. Well, you do go insane by shattering it, and you get to have different types of insanity.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a character stuck with monomania, though.
Oh, no.
Stuck.
Yeah, I always like to use all that stuff in the Dungeon Master's Guide on Insanity. I love putting things like that in to adventures. I don't know if I did that or not, but I don't know whose idea it was to do that.
I'm sure that was yours, John.
So I'm guessing you probably played a little Call of Cthulhu too. So let's throw some insanity in.
Don owned Call of Cthulhu. I don't know if we ever played it or not.
They never get you to play.
That might be true. I always wanted to play D&D instead.
The mirrors do serve a purpose, actually. There's 4 of them in there. One was supposed to, in case of a wartime, you shatter it. It's supposed to supply food, because if you shatter the first mirror, it breaks into 100 glass pieces, which turn into little miniature cakes within 2 rounds, which are delicious. But if you eat too many of them, you kind of get all fat and slowed down.
Yeah. So I'm picturing like 100 cupcakes on the floor. Something like that.
And then if you break mirror 2, a hidden trapdoor immediately opens above and dumps 500 shiny minted gold pieces, which I guess was supposed to be one, in time of war, in the siege, here's your food source, number 1. Number 2 is here's your hidden spot to hide things. Mirror 3, I didn't figure out what that one was representing. Maybe I missed that. And 4 was supposed to be to hide something. What was the 4th one?
the Mirror 4, when you shattered it, that one you became permanently insane. Now, I don't remember what the actual.
Generate 100 pieces each will turn to a bush seedling. So there's your food growth source.
That's for fuel.
Yeah,
you could cut the tree up and have firewood. And Mirror 3 is, I think, part of the teleport system. So that's why it wouldn't break.
Yeah, Mirror 1, if you broke, that provided the sustenance. Mirror 2 was a place to keep especially valuable treasures. Mirror 3 was an easily closable secret passage for entering and exiting the tower. And Mirror 4 is the one where I think Mirror 4 was the one where I don't know if you broke it or you reached into it. There was like the seeds, and within a few turns they grew into trees.
Yeah,
that was to provide a source of fuel.
One of them was supposed to be gazing to your source of view or something. Was that the third? No, can't remember that.
Well, the first one. Let's see where it says it.
Well, anyway, in any case, Mirror 3 is supposed to reflect and show where the teleport system is, so you could step on the platform and be transported into the cavern, the rat caverns, which we go to the next session of the rat caverns, where you start to meet the Greasel and his army pretty much down there.
Yeah, and let me scroll down to the rat caverns. This is where it really gets really interesting here, is on the rat caverns, because not only do you have giant rats and were-rats, but you have elite giant rats. So rats of enormous size. No. But you have the leader of the were-rats, who's Greasel Greedy Gut, and he's a 9th level magic user at that as well. So nothing nothing to sneeze at all. And I like the descriptions of each of the were-rats. Each was rather unique. Because you have Greasel. He used to be a lawful good magic user, and
there was a question I had about Greasel, because they said he was lawful good magic user, blah blah blah. But then they mentioned his name Nigel at one point. Was his name supposed to be someone else in there as well, or
that was his name previous when he was in the city of Enid Argyll, I believe. I've actually made that note when I first got the module. I put a line through there and said Nigel Dreamspray.
Gotcha.
So they just didn't put that in, or we forgot to put it in, or something.
Okay.
Okay, that's the question I had. I was like, okay, it must be his former name, Nigel, then.
So, what happened with him, I guess there was... he would attempt to rid a city of Enid Argyll of the dreaded were-rat Obadiah. And in the attempt, his band of adventurers were slain. He was badly injured and taken captive. So, and in doing so, he was turned into a were-rat, totally warped his mind, and he renounced his past life and dreamt only of revenge. And he then took a different name, which his original name was Nigel, and he changed it to Greasel Greedy Gut.
Hmm.
So
now, Obadiah was the ghost that lived in Laurie's house.
So that was the guy, huh?
Just a temporary ghost, though.
Okay.
Tell us a little more background on that. I'm interested to hear a little bit.
Yeah, now I'm interested.
Oh, well, we could get back to that one later. That's a longer story.
Okay.
All right. Well, we got ghost stories, too. Okay, I'm digging this even more. So, apparently, the now newly named Greasel Greedy Gut made a pact with... which allowed both of them to concentrate on their main goals. The rats became devoted followers of Elad and converted by Elad's were-rat cleric Kerrigan. So you have another fellow who's a were-rat, and he's a cleric named Kerrigan.
That was Laurie's neighbor.
Oh, Kerrigan?
Yeah.
Okay.
I forget why. Laurie might be able to remember.
I don't remember, honestly. Oh, I do remember. Yes, they were just very difficult.
Oh, okay. So, Greasel, his spell book is under guard of some ghouls in an area underground where it's a little further on from the were-rats. The problem is he can't get to it, so he hasn't been able to memorize that many spells. So, in a way, the parties could get his spell book for him in some fashion later on. So, and Greasel can't get to it because the alchemist that was working with him was killed by falling rocks during the earth tremor. So he was unable to safely enter the ghoul's lair.
Which is why he was trying to capture one of the old wizards in town to help, I think, manufacture a potion.
A potion of undead control, yep.
Control.
So he's just been kind of hanging back. He doesn't know what to do, trying to capture one of the wizards. And now the party's coming along, and maybe as they go through this, the were-rat and rat lair, once they come to him, maybe they'll be able to get to negotiate with him in trying to get his spell book back. I did like like I said, I did like the backgrounds of each of these were-rats. Like Kerrigan, his mother was when she was pregnant was bitten by a were-rat, but when the baby was born, it had the face of a rat. So distraught, the parents brought the baby to Elad for sacrificing, but instead of killing the infant, Elad substituted a human baby for the last moment, saving the young were-rat, which I guess must be Kerrigan.
Mm.
So that's a pretty cool background.
Did he go to his special baby cabinet in his house and pull one out? Or?
I don't know. He must have just.
He just happened to have a baby. I'm sorry. Just happened to have a baby laying around. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Hey, he was a devil. You never know.
Yeah, I guess so. He could have had it. I just thought it was funny. It's like he just substituted. Luckily,
yes.
He didn't find a baby that quickly.
He stole it. He was a devil. I mean, what did he care?
I just thought it was funny. That's all.
I know.
He earned it as the firstborn son of somebody who traded something for him.
Yeah.
There you go. And let's see, who else did you have? You had Elsie, third level were-rat thief. She is a beautiful human, and Greasel took it upon himself to make her his mate. Even though she is a lycanthrope, she's angry and depressed, finding herself hideously ugly as a were-rat. And she hasn't been a were-rat that long. She cannot shape change at will. And since she doesn't like her predicament so much, there is a pretty good chance that she will aid the adventurers in an attempt to escape. So,
lots of intrigue.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then you have this guy by the name of Ralph. Ralph Obdern. He loves being a were-rat, apparently. He just doesn't care. Doesn't want to be a human anymore. Loves being a were-rat.
Things didn't
he has
go
a really
well
cool
for him.
sword.
Then we have Mr. Chatterbox, Cyrus.
Oh, yes. Cyrus Mashpee.
Who just can't stop talking. Will tell the adventurers pretty much anything as long as they're friendly to him.
Yeah.
He's supposed to lead them around the tunnels, too. But
yeah,
if they got tired of him, they might get rid of him.
True. Once the player characters get down into there, they pretty much meet Greasel and his band of merry his band of furry friends.
Merry furry friends.
Yeah, merry furry friends. And he pretty much is like friend or foe, and they pretty much either can tell him a lie or tell him the truth, and he pretty much can figure out if he's working with Miner or not. And if he is working with Miner, then he allows them to freely walk about, and that's when Cyrus starts showing him around down there. Well, showing the party around, I should say. And there is one room I really did find interesting, was that the Kerrigan's chapel room.
That is, what room is that?
1B.
1B. I was going to say 18. Wow, I can't say.
81B?
No, just 1B.
1B, I'm sorry.
Where there is a solid pink quartz stone with the body, well, what appears to be the body of the king, his skeletal bones in there, missing one rib, mad, and his resting on top on a nice little purple velvet pillow built on there. His little skull is resting on there, and there's an ornate silver scroll case, which is obviously empty.
Obviously.
John, is that where Washington was?
No, he's in the mausoleum.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We got more people in the real world coming into this. Okay. Cool.
Right, the real mayor.
There's a small bloodstained altar to the west of the platform. This is where Kerrigan would hold a ceremony once in a while and force the were-rats to pretty much, well, I don't know if they were forced towards the end, but had the were-rats watch as he performed a ceremony for the king's good name. And the player characters, if they decide to steal the skull or anything in the room, you kind of get one of those, the walls start crushing in on you.
Yeah. Or if they enter the room without Kerrigan's key, there will be ironies that will appear.
Come to collect their souls.
Yeah. So...
There's a... Magical runes, there's all they're... I can't talk. On the magical... On the... on the railing, there's a magical runes that says, "Death does not take all. The structure of man holds the power." It's supposed to lead to some of the secrets of how they can figure out how to find the leaves and what they can do with them at that point.
Yeah.
It's still pretty hard to figure it out, though.
It is. From the description, it is kind of difficult at this point for them to figure out what to do with everything.
Yeah, that room with the crushing too. It said the walls crush in, but it's supposed to be circular. So I think I did the room a little wrong because the circular walls couldn't crush you. I don't think.
Well, if it went.
Well, it's D&D. Anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking maybe it crushes you from above instead.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. Maybe they just drew the map wrong.
Well, if they copied mine, then I did it wrong. I'm sure.
Maybe the
now there is, I think, in the skull on the pillow, and if you pick it up,
yeah,
it'll start to talk.
No, you have to put the scroll inside the silver scroll case.
Oh, okay, and then you get the skull,
and the
skull on the pillow will start talking.
Yeah, and in the king's voice, may I add?
Yes, and it says a riddle, and one of the things in the riddle is actually this little ditty. If they pay attention, will help defeat something coming in the future here. Where does it say? Emeth comes from such a time, the word means truth for all mankind. Erase the E, the word spells meth. The meaning changes from life to death. So it's a little bit of a clue. There's something in the future that will happen. There's using that to defeat a particular creature.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. We'll keep our listeners in bated breath what it might be.
Yep. And then there's a couple other rooms in here. There is, let's see, Kerrigan's room. They have a treasure room, which is guarded by a subterranean lizard. Likes to kill people unless somebody comes in that is Kerrigan only. Let's see here. And then we have the entrance to the town of the Hidden Gold, which I didn't notice at first on the map where it was.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, where is it? I kept looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Where am I missing? And then
we had to go to the mine complex map.
Yeah, it's really hard to find the.
Yeah, then I realized it was where it said the Complex 5. I was like, oh, okay, that's what they mean.
I thought that was really cool. I'm like, why didn't they put any encounters in there? Because the banded mine town sounded like, that would be a perfect place for like maybe some undead. I thought
didn't
that would
think
be
of
pretty
that.
cool.
Yeah, it would have been.
But then again, there's I think in the Hidden Gold mining town, or is it in the leading up to it? There's a chance that you have cave-ins.
Oh yeah. Crawling through, there's a chance that there might be a cave-in. You have to roll a 12-sided dice, and that's how far you can crawl through there. 1 to 10 is, and you multiply it to see how much distance you traveled. If you rolled an 11, means a total cave-in, but someone is able to stick their head through the entrance, and the character's not harmed. 12 means as soon as they get out, boom, cave-in.
Yep.
Then we get over to the hidden town, which everybody is dead because they got sealed in.
Yeah.
But it's an old, rickety town, and player characters decide to investigate, go in any one of the buildings, they have a chance that the building will just fall on top of them.
Right, that's what it was. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a danger there.
Yeah.
You have a whole building collapsing upon your head. So.
And Cyrus's room, a thieves' refugee, a giant rat lair. Let's see. Rat lair, a couple entrances, training room, guarded portcullis, the alchemist lab, watering hole, water hole.
Here we are. There's one thing I was looking for. When they're in Griesel's audience chamber, and a couple of the options that might come up.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, the characters agree with Griesel's, helping out Griesel. They'll instruct Cyrus Mashpee to be their guide, along with 6 giant rat guards to Area 24, which is, I believe, to the ghouls.
Yes.
Now, if the players attempt to double cross, then Griesel hits them with an ice storm spell. Oh, great.
I don't know if an ice storm spell will fit in that room. I was looking at that.
Well, it gets better. It's like once players get out of the ice storm, then he fireballs them.
Yeah.
So, here's a little bit of cold and a little bit of hot. There you go. Try to double cross me, will you? So I love that. That was great. And then I guess if they do agree, then they can try to go on to the ghouls, the treasure cavern, where eventually they have to, try to find that spell book. And I think where if I could find it, is.
What are we looking for?
About the Walls of Force.
The wall. I think that's where this. I don't know what you call it. It's like a cove, and it keeps you from leaving the cove and getting out.
Okay. So there was like 2 walls of force, I guess. Is that right?
I'm not sure if there were 2, but I know
there's a little of illusion, and there's a wall of force. Okay, that's right. I'm sorry. So so in the actual ghoul cavern, you have a lot of ghouls and a few ghasts. Now, a
few ghouls is a lot.
21.
Yeah.
And 4 ghasts. So what they've been here locked in since Griesel Wizard locked the entrance to the burial vault, and that's one of the ways in.
They're in there sucking on a mushroom.
Yeah, they're sucking on mushrooms and eating basically whatever they can find along the shore, like shellfish and what have you. So they're really hungry. Well, one of the things that he did is what Greasel did. He cast 2 permanent walls: a wall of illusion and a wall of force. And I thought this was kind of interesting. In the wall of illusion, it prevents any vessel passing this area from seeing that there is a cavern opening. So he puts this wall of illusion up to basically cloak the area in. And then there's a wall of force that keeps anyone from entering from the sea or leaving to the sea. So that's how the ghouls are pretty much trapped in this area. And the thing is, the ghouls had no idea that they are guards to the spell book and treasure in there. They've been trapped in here. They were fed up until recently by Greasel's alchemist, but now they're just kind of like subsiding on just whatever little bits of meat and shellfish when they can find.
The mushrooms that grow in there that they're kind of like chewing on. I like in 3 rounds after eating one of them, you get to increase your strength by 5. You still can't go past 18 though. But so if a fighter's up there and his points, you just be like, oh, nothing really happens for him too much. So
no. But I thought that that's a lot of ghouls and gas. But you're talking characters levels 6 to 9, so they might be able to handle it. Hopefully, you get some people that turn the undead, and then there's more undead around this area. You got some shadows you got to deal with, and a pretty cool magic weapon, a silvered spear +2, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, something a little different. And then here's the thing about those shadows, and in the area there's some sarcophaguses, or I don't know.
I spelled it wrong.
I thought it was sarcophagi, but
right. Yeah.
But either way,
but they didn't catch it either.
Yeah, that's cool. And they said this contained the skeletal remains of the 3 persons who once owned all these items. 3 shadows. Their name are Previn, Zidane, and Eord the Bold. So I was just kind of wondering, is there maybe a story behind those 3 names at all?
I don't think there is.
I was like, why did they name the spirits of the shadows there? I'm like, maybe there's something to that. Maybe it's named a dead PCs that they had. I don't. So maybe
I think you named those, John. Those are
I don't think that there was anything behind that, but you never know. There could have been something that was left out. I thought the shadows should be more powerful undead. They're going to get, if you got a decent cleric, they're gone right away.
But then again, they would have to go through a whole bunch of gas and ghouls. Maybe the party's kind of weak by then, and then you got
the cleric's dead.
Yeah, and then what if the cleric is dead? Then you're in real trouble. So I just thought that was interesting. He actually named the shadows, so that's pretty cool. And then we go on to the I guess the crux of the whole thing, the mausoleum.
Yes.
So I guess you could take it from there, Vince, and talk about the mausoleum a little bit.
It's really cool. No, kidding.
Okay, that's it. Great.
The mausoleum for everybody. Have a nice day. No, I'm kidding. In this mausoleum, it's pretty much an homage to the king, obviously, as there is a worship room, and there's where the room was supposed to be buried in this mausoleum. And the relic room is where there's like kind of, I forget what they call it, an homage to the king there, but it's actually, it looks like there's somebody in there worshiping him, but it's not. It's actually an illusion. And when you walk into the room, the illusion will scream at you and ask you to leave. And if you don't leave, he unleashes a bunch of, I think it was ghouls, wasn't it?
Specters. 10 of them.
10 specters.
And they're yelling, Elad the king.
Right, and the only way to do this is to pretty much either fight them or yell Elad the king, pretty much, and then they'll just all return and go away.
Yeah, and they're actually all illusions.
Yeah, so they will hit, and you can feel their hits and their attacks and everything. So the characters, unless they choose to disbelieve, which they don't have any reason to.
Right.
But once they yell at the king or they defeat the cleric that's there, everything just disappears and resets. Which they can figure their way into 5B room here.
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually the relic room itself, and it has a bunch of cases in it. And one is the original treaty signed by the king and Greasel, and another one contains a bunch of rings. One ring is actually a ring of, I was going to call it a fireball ring or a fire spreading ring. Am I right, Nick?
Yeah, it's that. There's it fires anytime where here's like a triangle, like the magic, the musical, the triangle, a wave of fire basically comes out in a, what was it?
Burning Hands at a skill level 12.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically Burning Hands is a 12th level magic user, and it doesn't matter if it's like from you or for somebody else. Anytime a triangle is sounded off, it goes off.
Oh.
And I think it had like 7 charges or something like that.
11 after.
11 of charges.
Yeah. And the last case holds the teachings of King Ylad, and he wrote it himself. And it's the quickest and most effective means of reaching eternal happiness in hell.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah, eternal happiness in hell, really?
And then we see the phrase again, death does not take all. The structure of man holds the power. Dun, dun, dun. Comes up yet again. The fourth case contains the back rib of the king himself. And the inscription says it will give the rib's possessor immunity from all fire and the highest constitution possible. Lies.
Yes, because it says both untrue. And then we come to the fifth case, which has something really cool.
It just has a mace.
But just a mace? It's not just a mace.
It's a mace plus 3 to hit and damage.
And
it also poisons its victims.
And
if unless you're awful evil, it causes you 20 points of damage.
And
I don't know what else is the end.
If you're neutral, it does 15 hit points of damage to you. And if you're chaotic evil, I thought this was interesting, you take 10 hit points of damage. So I guess that's a way of like keeping it out of the hands of a demon.
It's very lawful.
Yeah, very lawful, but very evil. I like this mace. I want one.
Oh, well, no.
Also, you're lawful evil, Nick?
I cannot confirm nor deny that. Next question, Senator. Moving right along.
There's one last case in there, the sixth case, containing the talisman of the king. The mere act of touching the oaken staff with the top carved and yields devil face will cause alignment to automatically change to lawful evil, and the character will age 30 years.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
The review in Space Gamer said that was a little too tough. They thought it should be toned down.
Really?
Well, if you're playing anybody if you're non-human, you're probably going to be okay. If you're human, not so much.
Yeah.
Well, fine. If you want to tone it down a little, give them a saving throw. There.
Yeah.
Tone down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you're a paladin or something, or a cleric, all of a sudden your alignment shifts.
Yeah. Well, I've been through that. Yeah.
You shouldn't be touching everything you find.
Yeah. Players need to learn, don't they?
Right.
That's right.
Yes.
And sometimes they
lesson.
don't.
Players are a lot like toddlers. They must touch everything and put it in their mouth.
Well put. Well put, Matt. They are like toddlers.
Yes.
Yeah, they learn by experiences.
Exactly.
And sometimes they don't learn at all, even after about the 11th or 12th time. But hey.
Yeah.
So you have, what was it? That was the sixth case.
Yep, the talisman.
And then
Yeah, that talisman also has the chance of summoning
Elad.
Yeah.
Who is now a lemur. So he's gonna. There's a chance he'll show up, and if he does, he'll be standing there dripping, looking like a lemur.
Unless this is 250 years later,
and
then he'll come back as a flesh morph.
Yes. I just thought that was funny. He comes back like, I can just imagine him saying, "Why am I here? Why are you bothering me? I still got like 200 some years left.
Yeah.
Not even fully formed." And then
the secret stairway.
And
well, he built it because he didn't think he went right before. Well, actually, after his son left.
Yes.
And he wanted to protect his leaves, so hoping one day his son will return and claim the throne. But he didn't wait.
Nope.
And he prayed and prayed and prayed for forgiveness. Therefore, the crypt was built in the event that the demon, or actually devil, allowed him to return to hell before Mino Yed had returned to Shadowville. And in the next room, I did find, when you get down there, the first room is guarded by a golem.
Yes, and a new type of golem.
A glass golem.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool, because when you break a piece of him off, it shatters and explodes, and players have to try to get out of the way, otherwise they take damage for that.
Yeah. Each time it takes more than 5 hit points of damage, a piece of glass will shatter, and everything, I guess, within... I guess probably within, or hits everyone, but I would say probably at a certain radius, you get hit for 2 to 5 points of damage.
Yeah.
So if you do more than 5 hit points of damage, I don't know if it's every 5 hit points of damage or if it's just more than 5 every time you're doing it. It shatters off a bit, and 2 to 5 hit points of damage goes to everybody.
It says 5 points of damage for each blow.
From a single blow.
But the golem does stay intact the whole time, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty nasty golem.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, who came up with that one?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I know I used to make explosions. All my monsters explode, but I don't know if I wrote that or Don may have written this.
I don't think so. I think it was you, John. That was pretty. You had some good monsters in there.
Yeah, I like this. I like this glass golem. Not only does that, if you hit it, do more than a certain amount of damage, it does damage to you. It has really sharp knuckles. They cause double damage to opponents wearing no armor or leather. Ring, scale, or chainmail clad opponents take normal damage, but after 3 hits, their armor is useless.
Yikes.
Yeah. If you wear splint, banded, or plate armor, you take normal damage, and after 6 hits, your armor is useless. Unless you're wearing magical armor.
Right.
That's the only caveat. If you got on even leather armor +1, you're good to go. But if you're wearing any normal armors after a certain amount of hits, your armor is toast. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
Well, the golem will immediately attack anybody that runs in the room. So if you leave, he'll just kind of not follow you. No, that's
right.
Get away from him if you can't really seem to defeat him.
And then
he's got the Emeth on him too. Then you can kill him right away by pulling off that E.
Right. And that was that little ditty that the skull was saying. That was the little hint there.
Yeah, on top of his head is a large glass crown with the letters Emeth hanging loosely from strings over his forehead, which is supposed to be giving you the little secret little tip from before. And you pull the E off, and he goes, "Brr."
Yeah. Oh, it does better than that because, like you said, this is a creature that explodes when it dies. So anyone within 10 feet of when the golem is shattered, you take 3 to 30 hit points of damage.
But you need what's inside him.
Yeah.
And I think Laurie wrote that because that's the Emeth thing, because that's based on a real Jewish legend or something. I don't know what it
is.
in that, I think when the guy pulls the E off, the golem dies and it falls on him and kills him.
Yeah, it goes to the original. There was a original legend of the golem, and inscribed on the golem's head is in Hebrew is a certain word, and I guess if you take out one of the letters, it renders it inoperable. But that's from actual legend. When I first read that, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. They incorporated that. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, so we move on from this room, and obviously after the golem shatters, it has a couple magical items.
Yep.
Inside the heart is a silver necklace with the convex glass globe, which is the amulet of light protection.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the stomach is a 12-inch long triangular candle. And inside the legs are one fly scroll and one knock spell.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Inside the brain is a manual of making glass golems, which is really cool.
Yeah. Because I would make mine out of broken Coke and Pepsi bottles.
Okay, Nick.
That would be cool.
Coke is it. Splat.
There you go.
Coke bottle golem.
Would you like to try some Pepsi?
Take the taste
Boink.
challenge.
Yeah, take the taste challenge, man.
Oh, good one. Yeah. I love that glass golem. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that in an adventure too. I don't think I've ever seen a variant of golem that's glass. I know they had the crystal golem in basic D&D, but I don't think there was like a glass one. So that's pretty cool.
So then you go on to the next hallway, which is a marble hallway with all these flickering candles on silver sconces.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep burning unless a dispel magic is cast on them. At the very end of the hallway is
an empty sconce. It's gold and triangular. What do we have?
Nothing.
A 12-inch long triangular candle. Cool.
Which will unlock the heavy oak door.
Yay.
Carved on the outside of the door are strange ruins, and if you happen to have read magic or figure a way to read it, may the fires of hell engulf the body and soul of any intruder fool enough to pass this door.
And that's where the thief in the party. Oh, great! Gotta go, guys.
Yeah, I could pick this lock. Sorry, bye.
Yeah.
And then there's a southern wall. There's a plain oak door as well. Okay.
And then you go to the room of... Well, before you get to the room of fire, there is... Well, you're walking... Well, you'll see that once you place the candle in the sconce, the characters will see the dark veins of the marble against the eastern wall begin to glow a soft red color, which gradually increases in intensity. I'm like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So you see an intricately sculpted marble door with the demonic face of King Elad, and then you go on to the room of fire. So, yeah, I thought this was really, really nasty. Whoever came up with this room of fire, hats off to you. So you go into this room. It's 20 by 10. There are 3 stone sarcophagi, and you got it right here. and there's at the foot of each sarcophagus is a 3-foot brass urn, and this was planned to be the actual final resting place of King Elad's wife and son, guarded by a fire-resistant mummy. I thought that was really cool because the mummy is still there. And this is why the mummy is fire-resistant.
The trouble is the mummy is too easy to kill.
That's why we made it fire-resistant. Yeah.
Yeah, but he'll get turned right away unless that cleric is out of commission.
Yeah. But I love that the mummy there's this golden amulet around his neck. Now, I'm sure, you have characters at certain level of ranges, they run into a mummy, they're like, I know how to take care of this. They don't like fire. So let's fireball this thing, or, burning hands, or I don't know, something. Throw oil and light them on fire. Now, it says if the fire-resistant mummy is attacked with fire, The flames will cover entire body, without causing damage. Then the mummy's eyes and mouth will begin to glow. I love that. They glow orange, and he sucks in the fire covering his body, followed by a hideous laugh. That's so great. After this, he will attack by throwing flames at his opponents, causing 3 to 12 hit points of damage unless the character save against fire. I love that.
That's my favorite part, I think, of the whole module.
I love that because this is like, losers, flap.
I just want the characters to be able to get it, and I don't know if they could handle being engulfed in flames before they use it. If they get fireballed, look at engulfed in flames, are they going to survive?
Yeah. I just love that the idea is like, you have a creature that is known to be, pretty susceptible with fire, and you make it a little fire resistant, and not only that, but turn the fire against the party. That's brilliant. So, and I guess the fire absorption lasts 7 more times, and then again on the 8th attempt, the amulet explodes as a 9th level magic user fireball. That is fantastic. I'm going to be using that too. That is really, really cool. I see. I love stuff like that where you just you take something that's like, oh yeah, no problem, we got this handle, and you just turn it on its head, and then they're like, oh, what's going on? Its eyes are glowing and it's shooting fire out of its mouth. What?
That's not supposed to happen, right?
Exactly. That's why it's so wonderful.
I know. I can already see the characters already shouting and running backwards and.
Yes, going run away. That's really good stuff. So, and then we go on to if they survive that.
Yeah.
You have the sacrificial chapel
where Cynthia was actually sacrificed in.
Right. And you could kind of take that one there, Vince.
Sure. This room.
This is a good one too.
I love this room. It has a big mural showing the demonic ritual itself, and Elad overseeing the sacrifice of a maiden who's being thrown into the fire pit by 2 barbed devils. And we have some overlookers, and then in the background watching. And the western part of the room is a marble altar. The north of the altar is a gong, and east of the altar is a sacrificial pit. The eastern head has has 5 finely carved mahogany pews. Lying next to the altar is a red-handed human man who has been torn apart. Long claw marks over his body. Next to him lies a glowing 2-handed sword which has fallen out of his hand. Which is a cool sword. It's +1 and +2 versus magic using and enchanted creatures.
Yep.
Attached to his belt are 2 torches, a hatchet, and a small pouch. Of course, if we look at the pouch, there's 5 gold and a bunch of overdue tax notices.
Now, that guy is supposedly Harold Washington.
Yes.
And he actually won the mayoral race. And he came in late, and we didn't think he'd have a chance. What do we know? And he ended up winning it, but we killed him.
Yeah, because his name is Lieutenant H. Washington engraved on a badge with the sign of the Griffin.
Yeah. And he spent jail time for not filing income tax returns. That's why we put the tax receipts in there.
Hence the overdue tax notices. Yeah. Cute.
So at the back of the altar, there are some easily visible compartments which have been already opened. Inside is a 3-gallon barrel of oil, decanter of brandy, decanter of human blood. What, huh?
Yeah.
And a 2-foot golden idol of Ilad's devil form with diamond eyes, worth quite a bunch of gold.
Yeah, quite a bit of loot. 2,000.
But as soon as you touch that altar or anything in or on that altar, your hand, the player's hand, not the character's hand, may I add, will be stained blood red. The color will not wipe or wash off and can only be removed with holy water or dispel curse. I can see the players burning around going, my hand!
Yes.
The first character to touch the altar or any possessions will cause the gong to slowly rumble, followed by 2 flashes of light, which will shoot out of the eyes of the devil on the mural. Reaching the door, the flashes will have formed into human-like figures, which then depart. 2 turns later, dun dun dun, a barbed devil will climb out of the mural and search for anyone with blood-red hands. Yikes.
Yep.
Finding that person, he will attempt to kill them. Oh, he was going to give him a teddy bear. All the characters will not be touched, even if they attack it. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that part.
I just love this. I finally got it now. It's like, oh, their hands are color. Oh, they're caught red-handed.
Yeah.
It's like, I finally got it. Okay. Like, oh my goodness, I caught that one now. That's really good. So,
once we defeat the barbed devil, we
yes,
beyond the hidden marble door, and there's a bunch of stairs going down the corridor heading to the north, and then we get the corridor of the future.
Yeah, the corridor of the future. So yeah, you go in this corridor. It's 10 feet by 15 feet, very dark. There are any light sources which give off heat. Small areas of the corridor walls will appear to suddenly ignite, so as match were lit, and the sound of a match lighting can be heard. And I thought that was kind of interesting. The air is only burnt for 2 seconds before they disappear. And so, but after you go down this, yeah, it's 10 feet wide, 15 feet high. But after you go down 40 feet, you start to feel a source of heat coming from somewhere. After another 10 feet, you'll notice that there are small fireplaces that have been built in the east and west walls. And there's woodless, smokeless fire burning within them. If you look within the flames, you see a scene of your immediate future regarding this adventure. If the group is having trouble, the DM may wish to show them the ironies about to be encountered. So there's kind of a little bit of a portent of the future there. And once you go back past that, there's a rope bridge you have to get past. So, dex checks must be made. Particularly,
I would show in the fire the scenes of them going across the bridge and like
falling.
Yeah, one of the people in the party that really rolls bad. His character slips off.
Yes, the one who's playing the dwarven fighter, going ah. So you have the rope bridge that they have to negotiate across, and then you go to the Irony's room.
The rope bridge was originally supposed to have skeletons floating up in bubbles from the river below. And then they'd shoot arrows at you, and it would break the bubble, and they'd fall back down and reassemble and hop in another bubble.
Oh, that's
and come back up.
I wonder what happened to that.
I don't know if we forgot to put it in, or we thought it was too tough, or they took it out.
They took that out, John.
Oh, okay.
I remember we were disappointed that they took it out.
They thought it was getting too tough?
I guess.
Because, I'm thinking about it, negotiating across a rope bridge like that, across a crevasse with, a river down below, and then you'd have, like, undead skeletons shooting at you. Wait a minute, that's kind of redundant, undead skeletons. But you have skeletons shooting at you with bows. Yeah.
I have skeletons shooting at you?
Yeah, that's why I said it was kind of redundant.
I know.
So you get to the Irony's room, and
door knocker on the door.
Yes, the door knocker where the center of the where is it? It says the door against the northern wall is a gate to hell, and beyond that are hideous looking lemurs reaching towards the gate. Where is it about the door knocker? The door will open, and the Ironies will be standing in front of the northern wall, and they each have a rope of entanglement, which is pretty nasty. So they'll be alerted already if you use the door knocker in the wall.
Now the ropes will only entangle one person though, so you can't get it. You're allowed to, with a real rope of entanglement, a whole lot of characters, right?
Right.
So if you don't, if the players open the door by magical means like a knock spell, they will have the advantage of a surprise, and they won't have their ropes of entanglement ready to use. So don't knock on the door with the door knocker. Basically.
That's why you got the knock spell earlier.
Yes.
Then we got the corridor of the lost strength, which is the 10 by 10 foot corridor, which the player characters will walk down, and it gets so hot, they pretty much start subtracting points off their strength due to the heat.
Yeah, they lose 5 points of strength.
Unless you're a magic user or a thief or somebody wearing light armor, then you would only remove 2 points of strength.
Right. Then you go into illusion corridor. I thought that was pretty nasty too.
Which changes back to, it starts getting really cold in here, and you think, so you regain the strength that you lost because you believe it's cold. So you start disbelieving, and then you just kind of lose it all over again.
Yeah, if you think to disbelieve.
Yeah.
Then you get to a room where you could probably get your butts kicked by some rather mundane creatures, namely zombies. So if you don't have any indication of disbelieving the other room, there's a room of 12 zombies, and you're already reduced by your strength by 5, so ow.
And this room is all frozen, too. So the zombies are all frozen. But once you open the door, the zombies begin to melt, I assume, because of the heat coming in.
Yeah, they're encased in some ice, and the ice begins to melt. And in 4 rounds, they'll be able to move and kill you.
But if you leave, don't forget to lock the door, because they're going to open the door and follow you.
Yes.
It just needed to be more zombies in it, I think.
Hey, I like zombies.
I was thinking maybe 40 instead of 12.
Wow.
It's like 12 will be destroyed right away.
So it's like Walking Dead, Rick walking into the room with all the zombies. I'll close that door.
Yeah. And then you go to the corridor of candles. There is a
16 giant centipedes in this room hiding.
Yes, with 16 giant centipedes. So yeah, if you don't make your safe versus poison, goodbye.
Kiss your butt goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the centipedes there were 16 candles, I think, and you had to touch a candle. I'm not positive about that. To make you pick up a candle, and then the candle turns into a centipede.
Yep, it turns into a giant centipede.
That was just something to scare you, because you're going to squash it right away. But
yeah, still they get a surprise. You know, they
right? You get a surprise, and they could poison you.
Mm-hmm.
You get to this room where either if you don't have a key to get into this room, you're going to be facing a giant Naga.
Oh, I know, the spirit Naga. Oof.
Yeah, pretty deadly there. Unless if the characters did not use the key and use the lever, they would immediately awaken the spirit Naga hidden 12 feet below the circular room that they'll be walking through.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if they use the key, they're able to walk through there without a problem.
So there was something missing from this room. When we first got the module back, I wrote a note that says the magical fire needs to be returned to the encounter. I don't know I can't remember what that actually was, but I think it might have been around the whole room, and you had to go around the edges.
Oh, okay.
And he came out from the fire, but I'm not positive about that.
So, and I guess the spirit Naga is acting kind of like a guardian?
Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah, that's what I kind of gathered, too, because the next room you have...
The skull room.
The skull room. And there is... I like the description here. This is a massive 75 by 100-foot stone cavern with a ceiling 65 feet high. 35 feet beyond the entrance is a 50-foot tall stone skull with green gem-like eyes. A passage 5 feet wide leads up to the mouth of the skull. The passage to the skull and the skull itself are surrounded by a blazing fire. Inside the mouth a golden glow can be seen. Both the mouth and nostrils are large enough to enter. Hint, hint.
Mm-hmm.
Only the 16 lower teeth are intact. The left front tooth appearing to be solid gold. So when you first enter this room, you see this whole majestic thing, and then you hear, coming from the skull, "Arise, minions of Elad, for his return is imminent." And you're like, oh, great. So you have a few choices here. You can enter the mouth of this skull, and when you do enter them, let's see, where does it say that the teeth appear normal in the mouth, except for the back 2 wisdom teeth, which are capped.
Oh yeah, with the one has the blue liquid, which is pretty much a healing potion with 32 ounces of liquid inside. Mm-hmm. So based on how many ounces you drink, that's how many hit points. If you drink the full amount, it says you'll get all the hit points you lost back. Mm-hmm. And depending on how much, if another person drinks, you get half the hit points back. He gets half the hit points back. Yada yada. Split it to however many people want to dip their paw in there.
Yeah.
And then the other one.
Yep.
The other wisdom tooth reveals a portable hole spread over the top of the uncapped portion. Inside is a small ebony box containing a leather helmet.
Yes.
Which is a helm of brilliance, and its command is Elad, servant of Despair. Additionally, the user is immediately turned lawful evil yet again.
Yep.
Rolls for system shock, of course, if he's non-lawful character. And Despair becomes his god. Oh, well.
I love that. So you're cursed. Aha.
Yeah.
So you have inside the mouth, you have that, and then you have the eyes of the skull. To the untrained eye, they look as huge emeralds, but to a dwarf or gnome, there's a 75% chance seeing that they are glass. If they are removed,
right,
and it must be done carefully. They get popped out. They weigh each about 250 pounds. But they're popped out without precautions. There's an 80% chance that they fall into the fire surrounding the room, releasing a chlorine gas. And you need to save versus poison, or you take 3 to 20 hit points of damage.
Yikes.
So I'm still, I'm picturing this demon face. Did you guys kind of get the idea from the cover of the Player's Handbook in a way?
That's possible. That's what I was thinking when I read it.
Yeah, I'm like, that's almost like that grinning demon face there on the Player's Handbook, almost somewhat reminiscent of that.
Aren't they climbing on it too?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they are. Oh man, we stole that.
Yeah, maybe subconsciously you stole that from that. Like, hey, cool.
Subliminal.
It needed to be done.
Yeah, that's right. That's cool.
Then the players can go from there and start digging for gold.
In the going nostril, digging for gold.
I started laughing when I thought of them digging for gold. I'm like, ha ha. That was a good little hidden joke there, if it was meant. And they find the box in there.
Yes, the golden box in the left nostril.
Or they could find the big giant pearl in the other one.
Yes.
Which made me both ways made me laugh. I don't know.
And that pearl, though.
Yes, it's actually a little. What do they call it? I'm trying to think of the word here.
The pearl box.
Yes,
pearl box. Inside the box is an iron flask. And guess who's inside there?
The gecko lizard.
Close, a salamander.
Who's not happy?
He's not happy at all.
Because he got jammed in this little tiny box.
Yes. So what's his name? Granette the salamander. Yeah, he's been trapped inside the iron flask for I don't know how long. If he gets out, because he says the salamander didn't appreciate the captivity and will immediately attack anyone who opens the flask. Really? Okay.
Well, Alpha SOB too.
Yeah.
42 hit points, a 7-hit dice creature. Wow. 2 attacks, 2d12 points of damage plus
2 to 12 for the body heat.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, pretty nasty. Salamanders are nasty.
And he can only be hit by a +1 or magic weapon or better.
Yep.
He's
very nasty creatures.
So then you get to leave from there. after you find the gold box and you leave.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
But there's one other place.
There is?
There's the Opolis Forest? The forest.
Oh, I thought you meant in this nostril or something.
Oh, yeah, get out of the nostril. Because you're done digging for gold.
Yeah, because you find the 4 leaves and 50 seeds in there as well.
Yep, you find that. You finally find the leaves and seeds.
And then you go to that forest, and there's some random encounters in here that the players can go through. I think the most important one was where was that, the rainbow area with the rainbow leprechaun, which is a new type of leprechaun.
Yeah, smooth stars glow. No,
I'm not that bad. He doesn't give you cereal, Nick.
Oh, okay.
And he pretty much tells his little sob story to the players about what happened to the forest and how the people moved in and took over. And slowly pretty much destroyed the forest, and his little world is slowly fading away from him, and soon he'll become a regular leprechaun and be like every other leprechaun in the world, and he doesn't want to be like that anymore.
Right. This forest area, which is near the town, there was, let's see if I get this right, there was this was an enchanted forest the god Sylvanus created, and it was a home for all the sylvan creatures. A strong aura of good around the forest. But when Elad came along, he messed everything up, and the aura of good started to fade.
Mm-hmm.
Evil man had started to attack forest creatures, abducting, murdering them. But in the early days, Sylvanus gave his creatures natural defenses, such as invisibility and passing in the trees. So he gave the Tinkers more powerful enchantments in order to deal with Elad's marauders. But there was right before Elad died, the Tinkers tried to clear the forest of evil, but there was only 25 of them survived. So there was the prophecy, which was foretold that Elad's son would return to Shallottville. So he was in which he was the rightful heir, and if that would happen again, the forest would begin dying again. So Sylvanus had to figure out what he had to do. So what he did basically was move the forest to a new home, a new realm, by moving all the creatures of the enchanted forest to another plane or wherever. So he constructed a gate to a new world on the bark of a dying oak tree, and told his creatures they could enter this safe new world. He said the gate would close as soon as the tree died. But if the evil ruler didn't come back and there was a powerful good leader, the tree would regain life and grow, and the gate would open again, and the forest would regain its good aura and great magic. So, and there's another. So that's kind of the background on this forest. So right now, they're kind of in this in between area. Some of them are starting to leave the forest, and some of them haven't quite left yet. Maybe they're still kind of weighing things out, seeing how things are going to go. If Elad's son is going to return and actually take power or not. So, and then they have I guess, I don't know if it's a new creature, the Aborans, or is that basically the Treants?
Look, for me, they kind of remind me of just Treants.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought.
Because they were animated trees, right, John? Is that?
Yeah, they remind me of Treants too. I don't know if they're new or not, or if we just call them Arborants because Nth is, I think, a Tolkien own thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I remember there was a whole controversy at the beginning of D&D because the Tolkien estate did try to sue them for certain names, and one of them was the Ents, so they renamed them Treants. And they tried to get them for Hobbit. I think they even tried to get them for Orc too.
Oh, please.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's like Vince was saying, a few random encounters in here. And you have the rainbow leprechaun. He tells his story.
The most important one is obviously the gypsy woman.
Yeah, I like her. And
opposite of the characters, and I guess if they're having some trouble, like she can kind of give some hints and some clues of their alignment of what thing what would happen.
And I like her the most because she's a magic user druid. So I'm like, yeah, that's a really cool combination.
And then I like the very last two Warhammer encounters, a warm breeze.
Yes, a warm breeze.
Everything's
fine.
Start rolling dice. You encounter a warm breeze. Just make me laugh.
And then everybody goes, and then what?
Yeah.
No, just a warm breeze. Because you got everybody paranoid.
The whole group at the edge of their chair waiting. Just a warm breeze, that's it. Why are you rolling? Don't worry about it.
No, don't worry.
And there's a whole wrap-up section of what the player characters might do or what they could do. And this is where they can go for the double cross, or they can decide to help either the queen or help the son. It all depends on what they want to do. Or they can take the clues that they found and figure out to smoke or ingest the bones of the king, smoke the cigar tobacco, and become the good leaders of the town that needed to be born.
And save the forest.
Save the forest.
Yep.
Or they could give it over to Miner, who takes it and starts smoking it, and then he dies. I love that.
Oops.
Oops. Oh, well. And then the queen sees it and says, I probably shouldn't smoke this, and hides it. Or does she dispose of it? I think she hides it. Yeah, I think she hides it. And that's,
she keeps safekeeping somewhere.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the adventure there. If he doesn't get the leaves back, obviously he'll just either probably run away and try to figure out another way to come back and take over. Does the queen actually do anything with him if you give it directly to her? Let's see. I don't remember reading that.
I don't think that's one of the options that was listed.
What would happen if the player characters decide to side with the queen and give her back the lead? Would she have smoked it, or would she have for safekeeping?
She was just going to keep it to make sure that Yelad never came into power again. She didn't really want to. I don't know if she knew the secret. I can't remember now. But I think the idea was that she would just hide it in safekeeping.
And then we have the wrap up, and we have some talk about the new monsters that were in the module, and you can get their statistics right there. And then we have all our maps nicely done here for us. And that's the end of the whole module.
It was actually a very, very fun module to play. It was, we did a lot of role playing with that and had different parties come in and try it out. And it was always lots of fun to play this game.
So is there any more that should have made it into the module that you guys would have wanted to see that was taken out, or something that maybe you started writing and scratched it out?
Other than the things I mentioned, I don't think there was anything that was left out.
Is there anything
there may have been more to the forest.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it was a little small. But
is there anything maybe that you might want to have done differently, or?
Yeah.
I think some of the encounters are a little too tough, and some of them are a little too easy. I think balance it out a little more.
Okay.
And the maps are really difficult to read.
You drew the map yourself, John, or?
I drew them up, and then they did what they do to them. I don't know.
They have their artists do it up.
Yeah.
I kind of like the maps.
Was this?
They're just hard to read. Like that trapdoor to the mine complex. It takes forever to find it out.
Yeah, it did take me a few moments to figure that one out, but I figured it out. So
yeah, eventually you'll figure it out, but it's tough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was this when you handed this into Mayfair? Was this instantly they were like, "Oh, this is amazing. We're going to print it," or did it go through one of those? Well, we'll think about it, try to improve it. Did you have any trouble getting it past them? Anything like that, or?
Well, they said this is the one we sent to TSR, and he completely panned it.
Really?
They said it wouldn't fit into any campaign milieu. We have joked a lot about that. I didn't even know what a milieu means. and so we had to decide what to do, and we sent it to Mayfair. And Mayfair said pretty much the same thing that TSR said, but they said, we can work with this. We can. There's something here, but it'll take some work. And so
I don't really think they changed much of it, though, John.
They didn't change much of it at all, no.
So I think it was just kind of a little bit of maybe, we haven't worked with you before. We have to look at it. We have to think about it. And then it just, we just worked with them, and it went pretty smoothly after that.
Now, I guess with TSR at the time, because you're talking 83, 84, they were still using World of Greyhawk. I guess was it they just didn't see it fitting in with that campaign setting if they were going to plunk it there?
Yeah, that's. They also said it seems like a parody, and we don't do parodies, and so they just didn't think it fit. And that if Greyhawk was what they were doing back then, that would probably be why.
Okay.
Now, with the test groups that you guys played with, how many sessions did it take to get through this? Was it one night, a couple hours? You remember?
It was I think it was a couple nights that lasted well into the morning, if I'm right.
Oh, wow.
Rented a hotel room for one. It lasted all night.
We did?
Yeah.
We rented a hotel room?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
And it lasted a long time, John saying.
Mini convention.
And I just remember everybody was laughing. It was just one of the more fun modules to actually play.
And now that I think now that we get some of the backstory, what's behind the names and what they're kind of based off of, and some of the other little in jokes, I think that makes it, like you said, it's a fun module. It's a bit lighthearted, but there are some serious points in it too, and I think that's a pretty cool balance, because I think a lot of people they want that in an adventure. They want it. Some people don't want it entirely serious, don't want it too off the wall. A nice balance between the two. I think that makes a really fun game. I think this kind of hits that.
Yeah, we made the town to be the fun part, and then obviously the other locations get a little deadly.
One of the questions I had, as far as the location, and I know Mayfair had their Rolaids lines of stuff. Was this going to fit into maybe a campaign world that Mayfair had, or were you just coming up? Was this somebody's campaign world amongst your gaming group? How did that kind of come about?
No, we just wrote it. It didn't fit into anything.
They
we
really
had.
just came up with some names of some places.
Yeah, I don't think we did campaigns. Don and I, when we played, we usually pretty much pulled out a module and said, "We're playing this tonight," and figured out a way to get into it. And
okay.
And once we were playing a couple, we've been playing for a while, I was saying, we can write one of these. Let's write our own. And this was our first module that we put together.
Cool. Okay.
Well, looking at it, you can go on Amazon, find this module, and you can get a used copy for around $10 plus shipping. Or if you want to splurge for a new one, you pay a hefty $70 almost for the brand new module.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's one of the more expensive ones for brand new for Rolaids.
I think I saw one go for $1.26 on eBay the other day. I bid on it and I forgot to get back to it because mine's all beat up.
Yeah, but yours is an original one, so
yeah, mine's an original with designer notes in it.
Aha!
Mine must be worth something. That must be worth $100.
So yeah, it was actually a fun project.
I could tell. I see you guys really put some thought into this. Put a little interesting your own, I guess, almost your own personality into this particular adventure.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it's Laurie's personality for the city. She liked that the funny stuff a whole lot, and I liked Don loved the evil stuff, and I always liked
exploding creatures,
exploding things. Well, my influences would have been for this would be probably Caverns of Thracia. That's like my favorite module of all time, and
yeah. I was going to say, where are some of the influences that you maybe had into this? Besides, like you said, Caverns of Thracia. Any other ones you think that kind of influenced you into this?
Definitely the Caverns. I don't think any others influenced me. I don't know about Laurie and Don.
Which was the lizard module?
That was
the Lizard King.
Oh, okay.
No, was that the Caverns?
The Caverns of Thracia had a Lizard King or something like that in it too.
And I know TSR had Tomb of the Lizard King.
Yeah, TSR Tomb of the Lizard King. We probably played that.
Mm-hmm.
We did, and that was those Lizard Kings were all fun too.
Okay.
Cool.
That's great.
But
great stuff.
we just decided to make it our own. Once we were playing enough, we thought, "Oh, we can do this. We'll make it great."
And next thing you know, hey, we're published.
Yeah, we made a fortune too.
Because you're living in the lap of luxury now.
Yeah, this is split 3 ways. Did we even get 500 apiece?
I don't know.
As they're calling from on their Skype machines from their Bel Air mansions.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry that TSR decided this was a meh for them, and I'm glad Mayfair decided to say, yeah, this looks cool for us. So I'm glad it got published. I could see playing this with many groups over a couple sessions, 4 hours a night maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't think this would go well with a convention. I think it's too long, but I think with your group, a couple sessions, a couple Saturdays in a row, you get together, would work out pretty well. How about you, Nick?
Oh, I definitely think so. I think this is something that, like I said, it's from the time. I think it's definitely original. I'm kind of going what Mayfair was going at the time with their Rolaids line. I think they were looking for stuff for AD&D that was kind of off the beaten path a bit. So this really fit the bill. So. Yeah, I like it just for that simple fact that it was something different from the time that it came out.
Let's hear from Matt, who hasn't said much on the show today.
Yeah. I apologize about that, but I still kind of feel like I've been on like a 2-week bender between Gen Con and the hellacious weekend I've had. But I like the adventure as well. I mean, there's a little of everything. You have the town exploration. You get to crawl through caverns and the towers, and yeah, there's just a lot to it. And plus, I think like you guys mentioned earlier, once you know the foundation and the backstory of what led to this creation, it just makes it that much more interesting. In my home gaming group, I have a guy from Chicago in it, so he would probably really appreciate all the references in this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Definitely worth looking out, especially if you're from the Chicago area.
You can also take it apart and just use the forest to send in some evil players and waste all the good creatures in there too. It's not just for good people.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, with all the magic items in this, you may have a bunch of evil characters once you're done with the adventure.
Yeah, there's a few that will turn you evil. So
right, so that may happen over time naturally just by playing this.
We should have had some that turn them lawful good. That would be pretty funny too.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
bunch of old lawful evil people running around.
Yeah,
and I don't think it'd be too hard to take something like this, and if you have your own campaign of some sort, or even one of the pre-published ones, you can tweak this out a little bit with some effort as a DM and plop it to your own game setting. So
yeah, you can easily drop this into
sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't see a problem at all.
Nope, not at all.
Okay, cool. I guess we're gonna have to hit the road now because it's time to say goodbye. John, thank you for coming on the show. Laurel, Don, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks
well,
for having us.
It's been great.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a pleasure having you folks on.
Again, and we'll probably hear from you again in the future as we review more things, and probably your names will pop up yet again, and we'll be like, hey, come on back.
Okay. That would be wonderful.
So I'm going to say this is Vince for Nick and Matt and the crew saying good night, and keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, everybody.
The Roll for Initiative podcast is a production of Wild Games Productions in association with D20Radio.com. You can visit us at rfipodcast.com or contact us on our forums at osrgaming.org or even by calling us at 570-865-4210. This podcast is produced for entertainment purposes only. All other uses are prohibited. And remember, if your magic missile spell doesn't automatically hit, you're playing the wrong edition. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative.